Welcome to the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. Appreciate you joining me as always. It's Friday, and you know what time that means. It's Friday Fan Day, where we bring in the best and the brightest of the Burgundy and Gold's fan base. We have people from all over the country and all over the world now, because recently we've had people chiming in with us from the UK. So it shows you the vast, length and reach that this team has. So on today's show, we're going to bring them in when we come back from break. But as you can tell, I'm in beautiful Mexico right now. It's hot out here. We're excited to be here for the next week, and just wanted to say a special happy birthday to my best friend in this world, in this universe, Janine Samuels. Happy birthday, my love. And listen, when we come back, we're going to have our fans on. If you want to subscribe to this show, if you see that little red button down there, that means you haven't subscribed yet. How dare you? How could you do that to me? Hit that button if you see it up there. If not, you've already subscribed. And you can subscribe to this show in many ways, and you see them all at the bottom of the screen. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, it's Friday Fan Day here on the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. Welcome back, everyone, to the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. It's Friday Fan Day, and we have the best in the business as far as fans that support their team, and they support me. And right now, I'm actually in Mexico. You know, my better half is having a big, significant birthday, and we're all here to celebrate with her. So if you thought I wasn't going to do this, you're sadly mistaken, because I enjoy coming on Fridays, chopping it up with my family right here online. And if you want to join, all you have to do is email me at dlakeLewisJrShow@gmail.com, and we will get you on. These are familiar faces today, some home run hitters, so you're going to get some great advice. And then we also have Rev joining us right now. Perfect timing. All right. So if you guys see me dabbing my head every now and then, it's hot here in Mexico, so I got to do that. So let's fire it up. OTAs this week. And I got to tell you, what I saw out there was speed, and more speed and athleticism. So if you ever thought that last year's team that went to the NFC Championship, they weren't going to be able to sustain this or maybe even get better, they're much better. That roster looks totally different. And it's just OTA. I know it's early, but I know what I saw speed-wise, and Debo looks great. Everyone was doing their thing. So let's chop it up. Let's get your take on what you are hearing from folks like myself in the media, and how excited are you as far as what you're hearing from us as far as OTA. So let's start with Kel. Commander Kel, what's going on, man?
I'm happy to be here. First and foremost, man, I appreciate you having this platform, Lake, and your dedication to the Commanders and his fans. You out there in Mexico celebrating somebody's birthday, but still talking to us. I appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you. And she encouraged that too, by the way.
Okay. Yeah. Man,
she's a keeper. She a keeper.
Yeah, of course.
There you go. Took the words out of my mouth. I believe the biggest standout when it comes to the OTA talk is the Trey Amos. When it comes to the players specifically, I think Trey Amos out the box. I mean, he's going to be a learning curve, but like his natural athleticism is going to allow him to, stay in the game. OTAs, it's not too much for the defense to really show or really it's like 707, but thus far, Trey Amos.
Good stuff. And yeah, man, Trey was, I'm not going to use the word locking up people, but he was more than holding his own. Matter of fact, I'm just going to come out and say it. On Wednesday, the defensive backs got the better of the offense, got the better. They were Mikey Sanders still, no Marshawn Lattimore. So, Marshawn, Laramie Tunsil, and obviously Terry weren't there, but Trey Amos was looking really good. Did not look like a rookie. I understand it's OTAs, no pads, no full playbooks, but it's just more or less, this is when you can really see something about a person, because there are no playbooks. It's just raw talent on raw talent. And he broke up a lot of balls. He broke up some balls with Debo. And it was just like his anticipation and his physicality, but more importantly, his smarts. Like, you can see that they knew exactly what they were doing when they drafted him. And that corner room has gone from, in a year's time, from being one of the weakest in the league to potentially one of the top 5 in the league. They're that talented. So excited about Trey Amos. Brad, my dude, man, up in Detroit. What did you see, man? What are you thinking?
I'm just excited about year 2 of Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury and Jaden. One of the things I like that they did was the brotherhood of the team. And you hear that about the free agents, the brotherhood. So just see how crisp Jalen is, or rather Jaden, in this year 2 of this offense. And I'm excited about that. Everything. I'm excited about everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got Miss Sheila joining us again. Looking fly as always. What's going on, Miss Sheila?
Hey. Yeah, I was looking at they put it on TV, some of the practice. So I was watching it. I saw you over in the corner because I was looking for you, right? And I saw you over in the corner. And so I basically saw Debo. I saw when they run across the they do their fast run. So they showed a lot, and so they look like they are excited. They ready to go. They look like they're ready to go now. They don't look like they're ready to wait till September.
Yeah, I mean, guys were in shape like Zach Ertz, man. Just look felt, these guys literally they know what's at stake here. And it's real. It's not like they were like, okay, we had a great year last year. I sniffed a little bit of what it would be like to get some fanfare. No, they're embracing the whole fact. And before we get to Ellison and the Rev, let me tell y'all, Dan Quinn had the line of the day. So, Scott Abraham, because I go on with Scott at ABC a lot. Scott was just, asked him as far as what's it like now to go from the hunter.
I saw that.
Dan was like, no.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. And he was like, we're the hunters every day.
I saw that.
And I'm like, just hearing it. He said he just wants everybody to know that's just how we get down. Those were his exact words. If you can't ride for someone like that, your coach, if that doesn't get the hair on your arm standing up, I don't know what will. So it's a real thing, guys. And Sheila, it's a real thing because, when I was talking with Trent afterwards, he said, I asked him, and this interview is going to be following this show. So when we go back and watch it, I'll have that in there. I asked him as far as how do you set the tone with the young guys to let some of these young guys know, okay, you made it to the NFL, but that's not the goal here. The goal is we try and win a championship. And he said that each position group already talked to the young guys, the new guys, to establish this is how we go about things. This is how we do things. This is how you have to be part of the brotherhood. They keep saying that. And I'm like, man, this is real. This second year is going to be something. I can assure y'all that. So, Ellison, my God, what's going on, man?
How you feeling?
I'm good, man. Appreciate you coming on again.
No problem, man. Appreciate you having me again, as always. I think for me, I'm just glad to see the guys back out there, ready to rock again for another year. My man took the question that I had was going to be about Amos too, how he look. I heard a lot about that. He looked pretty good, the past few days at OTAs. I guess for me, the one question that I would have is how did Ben Sinnott look? I know he was kind of up and down a little bit last year, so that's my question.
Good, man. Look good.
Okay.
Drills, threw a couple deep balls to him. He caught him and ran him in stride.
Okay.
John Bates, another one, was catching him in stride. But more importantly, the throws were put in spots where you had no choice but to catch the ball from number 5. So,
okay.
But no, man, I think Ben's ready to take that step. I tried to explain to a lot of people last year that every rookie's not going to hit the ground running in the NFL. That's actually rare. You got to be one of those special talents, a la Jaden and Sanders still, to be able to sustain success and just keep building and getting better each week. Most guys as rookies will have success and then they struggle at times, kind of like Brandon Coleman. You saw the highs, you saw the lows, but then there's the third tier of rookie that just needs another year for the speed of the game to slow down, for the mental aspect for them to be able to really, make their mark. And I think the second year for guys, like a Jordan McGee, Dominique Hampton, Ben Sinnott, I think those are the guys that you're going to see a big step this year where this is kind of like their rookie year playing, being part of it. So I'm expecting some big things from Ben. So he looked good, man. He really did.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
So we got Rev joining us from Cali. What's going on, Rev?
Yeah, I had came in smoking and everything, but I'm like Commander Kel. You know, I've been hearing a lot about trades, so I'm excited. I'm really glad to hear that that backfield defensive wise is coming on, and especially it's like everything we do, there's no in between. Like when you say top five, that's an elite, I think. Maybe not quite the Legion of Boom, but within that conversation that these boys they hunt, you know, and that's what I hear and what I see, and I like the sound of the continuity that where we're a second year in, so it's not like we're trying to start over. We're picking up, and that chip that you talk about that's on their shoulder, it's real. Like they didn't want to stop the season. They want to, you know what I mean, in a couple of weeks come back and play the championship over again and say, see what we got. These boys are really carrying that like deep in their souls. So it's like even as a rookie, you got to almost be that hit the ground running, because it's like we're ready to hunt right now, like you said. So you guys, I understand you knew, but you got to be at this level right here, because we're looking to bring something home. So I'm amped. I am so amped.
You know what this sounds like? It's just hearing some of the older veterans say this. It's a winning formula. It's the Patriots with Brady and Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City.
Yeah.
There's no other expectation except for whoever they draft or bring in as a free agent to just blend right on in and keep this winning going. And
Excellence.
That's literally what I hear now. It's guys knowing that they're good. There's no thinking, can we be good? Can we be at the upper echelon, top 5, top 10? No, they know they can. Their question is, who do we need to get to that Super Bowl and win it? And if you are a young guy that Adam Peters and Dan Quinn brought in, they know you're good because they know those guys know talent evaluation. But the biggest thing, guys, that you see already is no egos. These guys don't care if you're going to take a rep from them. I asked Cliff about that in the presser. I asked him as far as, you're going to have a lot of talent on your offense now. How are you going to appease some of these egos? Because it's just nature of the business. And he said, listen, guys understand. He was like, with Debo, having a Debo Samuel Pro Bowler, it's going to take away catches from somebody else, but it's going to make everyone better. Make all your catches even more important when you get the ball. But then he came back and said, look, guys already been cursing me out, for not getting the ball. So that's just how it is. But man, I was so excited to come on today because I wanted to share that with everyone. Like I said, I haven't been able to put up my video and stand up from Wednesday because we've been traveling. But man, I left that facility telling myself, I've never experienced that before, ever. Like I never experienced a real Super Bowl, expectation. Last year, no one thought that. I know I said 11 wins, whatever. That was, 11 wins could get you in the playoffs. And that's what we were all hoping. They could just, they could sniff some success, maybe make it as a wild card. Not make a run and get to the NFC Championship at Rookie of the Year, So this year, though, is the first time I've ever been in that environment in all these years where, man, it was business. It wasn't like a OTA voluntary. Nah, man, they were getting after it. And as Dan said, they turned the heat up and they want to see what's what. So it's all good, man. Is there any other players out there I want to ask you guys that maybe you want to know how they did that you're interested in? And hopefully I can answer that question. So let's start with Ship. Who?
Lane.
Oh, I mean, he was out there. He was making some catches as well, and that's one of the guys that I was talking about as far as the speed. Now, when they were doing their drills, it was, I mean, clearly, and I'm not blowing smoke here. Y'all know how I get. deepest wide receiver room they're going to have. They're going to ever have. You might have to go back to Pierre and Deshaun just because they were so good, but the guys behind them like Aldrick and some of those guys were good players, and at the time I think they had drafted Josh
Morgan. Josh Morgan.
No, not Josh Morgan. Josh
Doxson.
That was here for 2 years, right?
Josh Doxson. Yeah,
exactly. Josh Doxson. So they had him, but there was a significant drop off behind Pierre and Deshaun. Okay. This year, I don't think there's going to be your fourth or fifth receiver, your sixth receiver, because I think they're going to keep six. I don't think there's a chance that your sixth receiver doesn't get on the field. They're going to all be playing because they're all interchangeable. And you heard me ask Cliff that same question. And he said, yes, the goal is to have everybody be able to play the same position so that defenses don't know how they're coming at you. Right. So let me tell you, Michael Gallup looks healthy. Don't forget about that name. Brooks, the rookie, the undrafted rookie. He got a little swag about him that I like. He has he reminded me swag wise. He got a little Deshaun in him, and he knows he belongs. A couple of us were talking, and I was like, "What'd you see number 16 right here?" And they were like, "He got a little swag about him." Candy was like, "He looked like he's supposed to be out here." And sure enough, made a catch that I got it on tape too. It was right in front of me. It was during the drill. It was like a 30-yard, like over the shoulder catch. And he looked the wrong way. He looked to the other side and the ball was over here. And he turned and caught the ball without looking. He didn't turn his head yet. I got it on tape. And I'm like, yeah, he knows how to track a football. So you think about what they're bringing in, guys that can play football but have speed. This is the fastest team. This is the fastest team I've seen right now so far with my own eyes. Like you can tell that they're gonna make it a thing. That's not me, is it? And don't worry, I can clip this part out. But okay, yeah, I don't know what that was. Okay. There's nobody at the door, so yeah. So no, okay. And I still sound clear, right?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, yeah, I'll clip that part out. So yeah, so you guys do know it's Friday, and you didn't think I was going to let you get off the hook with a hypothetical, did you? Come on, man. I got a good one for you. All right. So this is what we're going to do. We've been replacing players. We've been trading players. This one right here is not meant as a slight because we know that they got a real franchise quarterback for the first time in history, in my opinion. Okay. But for the sake of having fun with these hypotheticals, which we always do, I'm going to ask you, Washington is in the Super Bowl and they have to replace Jaden, who catches the flu or something, okay? But you can pick one of the quarterbacks from the past, from this team, for one game. It doesn't have to be one of the Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. It could be any quarterback from burgundy and gold past for one game to help this team win that Super Bowl because Jaden would be out.
I already got mine.
All right. I'm gonna let y'all think on that for a quick second, and then we'll go on to the next subject matter, and then we'll get back to that. So, the question that I had is that just like we talked about rookie minicamp, we talked about the draft. Is this like maybe the first time for you where OTAs matter to you, or have they always mattered? How excited are you for OTAs to be here? Or are you really kind of looking ahead to maybe mini camp or training camp or something like that? So let's start with Rev first.
No, I'm looking ahead. I understand, because of the way that it's said, this is a lot of getting to know the why as to the guys. So let them get that. But I'm waiting till when the pads go on. I heard one of the shows where like the linemen and the backs, we really don't know what we have till the pads go on. And the protection scheme. You asked another player. I want to know about Merritt. I really want that scat back. I want B-Rob to stick around to ground and pound, but I want that guy that at a surprise out of the blue, one jump cut and 60 yards later, you're looking at him. That's what I'm looking for. I believe that's that other element offensive wise that gives JD5 a break because they don't know, like you said, that element of surprise. I believe Lake, and I'll be quick. I believe we're still going to have that because what we are this second year coming in, we're not the first year. Our experience.
And he's going to have more time to survey the field because the offensive line play is going to be that much better. And oh, by the way, not to stray, but I saw Big Sam. Afterwards, I was doing my stand-up for CBS outside, and I was doing it for CBS this time. So yeah, we going like this. But so Big Sam was coming down, and I had to tell him to hold up. I said, I ain't seen my boy, man. I said, I haven't seen you in a long time. He said, I know, right? And I said, man, you walking? He's in shorts and everything. I said, you looking good, man. He said, I feel good. I mean, he had, a little hitch, and you could see the scar on the knee and all that. So obviously he's not ready to play ball by any means, but it was good to see him in good spirits,
exactly.
Like for him to feel like he's part of this still, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So yeah, I just had to throw that little nugget out there that everybody worrying about Sam Cosmi, this is what you need to hear.
I'm looking down the road.
Good stuff. All right, Ellison, what you think, brother?
I mean, it all matters to me to a certain extent. Obviously, training camp means a little bit more than OTAs does, but you want to see at this time of the year how the young guys are looking, how the vets are looking after being off for a few months, man. So it all kind of matters to me. But I know there was some talk and chatter about Marshawn and Laremy Tunsil not being at OTAs and stuff. I'm the type person, if you're not mandating nobody, you can't get mad if they don't show
Absolutely.
up. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So all that talk is null and void for me. But I do got a quick question just to veer off just a minute. Mm-hmm. Any truth at all, and I'll take it from you because you're right there. Any truth at all to the Ramsey rumors at all?
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Okay.
For heavy.com, I do a lot of coverage for the Dolphins.
Okay.
And they're desperately trying to save face and move him.
Okay.
They botched that. They handled that totally wrong. There was no reason for them to want to move on from Jalen Ramsey. They just gave him a 3-year contract a year ago. So, and he played really well last year under the circumstances. So, Washington obviously is a team that has Super Bowl aspirations, but I'm telling you right now, from what they saw this week with Trey, nah. and am I saying Trey Amos is Jalen Ramsey? Come on, now. Y'all know.
No, I got you.
But what I'm saying is, when you have a young guy that needs to be on the field, because he's proving that he's going to make a difference in their secondary with them this year to go along with Marshawn and Mikey, and you got to think you're on a rookie contract.
Right.
Let's put these things together, fans. Like, come on, man. You have a rookie quarterback that you're going to have on a rookie contract for the next couple of years. You're not trying to bring in too much to take the salary cap.
Right.
And especially when you see one of the guys that you drafted in the second round that you thought was a first rounder is out here killing. Nah, I don't see that happening. I would be shocked if Jalen Ramsey ended up in Washington because that could stunt the development of a guy like Trey Amos.
Right.
Good point.
I will say this real quick, though, and it could be just me, but I still got my eye on Marshawn, man. And he could have been injured last year and everything like that, and that's fine. And I take it for what y'all say. I still got my eye on him. Marshawn
gonna have a hell of a year, man.
Okay.
And the reason why I tell y'all this is little things that some people like, and on my show, and with the fans, but y'all, you guys are the insider fans. You know what I mean? Y'all know what's going on. So I can tell you these little side stories. Will Harris is in Washington because of Marshawn,
right?
And because of Bobby Wagner.
I thought so.
Yeah. So they knew they understood. Like when you go back and you watch the film from last year, and that's what we do a lot of. Quan Martin looked really good at free safety. Like that's where he got the bulk of his snaps. Like in the second half of the season, it was all free safety, and you saw how he played in Detroit in the playoff game. like that's his home because he's a guy that can track a football. Okay. Couldn't really do that at strong safety, not having a spot. Will Harris is a strong safety.
Right.
Let's call it like it is, but he also can play free safety and can track a football. Hell, they've had him in New Orleans when he was there with Marshawn. They had him playing up in the box sometimes.
Right.
So they played together for 6 years. So there's a familiarity with each other that Marshawn came in halfway through the season. He didn't even know his teammates' names, let alone what their tendencies were. So I think Marshawn's going to have a better year, and he's going to have a better year too because Mikey's going to be better, and Trey Amos is going to have a Mikey type year as a rookie. So yeah, man. Hopefully, what I'm saying making sense because
you're good. I feel you.
Yeah,
it sounds good. Yep, for sure.
And Trent said too when I talked to him, he said the 3 guys that weren't there. He said, "Man, look, when you all pro and you've proved yourself over the years." He said, we know you know how to take care of your body and come in prepared. He said, nobody's worrying about those 3 guys. They know that they're going to come in and be the faces, basically. Right. So someone said to me, well, why is Debo here? Debo needs more to work than anybody
Absolutely.
else.
Absolutely.
He's you don't think Debo's smart enough to not understand that with Terry being out, I'm number 1 right now. So I'm hitting some balls more so than I would if Terry was here. So when Terry gets here, he's going to know every route tree, everything that needs to be done. It's just smart, man. And Debo's getting in shape. By the way, that Joker's big, man.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, and I don't mean like fat or girth.
No.
I mean,
he's
thick. That's he's thick. And now I see where Debo came from. He looked like a bully out there.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, when he stood next to the other receivers, I'm like, bro, this Joker looked like Bobby Wagner running routes. Like literally, that's what he looks like.
Right.
So yeah,
I like that he there. I like that he there because I'm sure he heard all the talk that he was done and all of that. So the fact that he there shows me that he motivated. You know what I mean? So let's be hungry and let's go out there and eat. I like that he there. I love it.
And he don't like the Eagles, and they don't like him in Philadelphia. So there's added juice to that. There's added gasoline to pour on that fire. And you don't think that's going to get – I'm going to say this. Washington has some dogs on their team last year, but it was more sporadic dogs. But they never had a team dog, Debo is going to give this team a different edge and identity. Once the season starts and that trash talking's coming, you don't have no choice but to ride with him and back it up because he's going to keep doing it. And that's what I want to see from this team. I know Reverend like that because you know what I'm saying? Like no more tackling people and helping them up. It's tackling them and pushing them back down. Come on, man. All right, Sheila, what do you think? You got anybody out there you got your eye on?
I wasn't I first? No.
Mm-mm.
When I said
you good.
The receiver, no.
Mm-mm.
No, you good. It's your turn.
It's your turn.
Oh, it's my turn. Oh, okay. Well, I watched a lot of them. So, young man that you were talking about, the running back.
Oh, Jacory. Yeah. Listen, when you know how I kept talking about how fast he was, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then when I saw him in his drills, the footwork there's no other running back on the roster that can do that footwork.
Good.
Like he's dancing, but burst. Not I don't want to call anybody out, but not at the line of scrimmage dancing and going nowhere. Y'all know where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
This guy is decisive with a cut. He'll hit you with a cut, boom, he's in the hole, just like that. And he's not little. So he's got a little thump on him.
That's it, right? He's short. Right.
Yeah, he's short. I mean, he's about 5'9", 5'10", but maybe 5'10". I say 5'11", maybe with some high cleats. But at the end of the day, though, he's fast. Like you see it again, like different type of speed this team hasn't had at running back. And when you hear Cliff say, "Yeah, we got a lot of balls, and we got Jacory," he said he had elite speed. That you don't pass those kind of superlatives out just because. I'm telling you, with him on the field, with Debo on the field, Lane on the field with Terry, with
Uh-huh.
Laramie Tunsil and Connerly and Coleman and Beatis. Even Tyler was like, man, I'm just excited. This thing looks good.
Yeah.
We didn't even mention number 5, being able to overlook all this stuff.
Yep.
Take his time.
It's Christmas for Jaden.
Man, I'm telling you, man. And Jaden looks good. No, by the way, let me go ahead and refute and diffuse all this nonsense that he didn't put on 15 pounds. No, he didn't.
I know.
You can tell he looked good, man.
He looked good.
He looked
Got
in
his
shape.
muscle.
All of these guys do. Yeah, he looked like he put on 5 pounds. But it's you know what it is? Y'all know when we get older, you're a grown man now. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So his body is adapting.
Right.
And his arms look stronger. They look more cut. But I think the angle of the picture that was taken, it made him look like the Hulk. And I'm like, if you don't cut that mess out, because first of all,
muscles.
Yeah, for sure, Jaden don't want to be that big. Look, Lamar Jackson put on that weight and was like, man, I gotta take this off. That's not my. So for Jaden, I always look at a guy's lower body. That to me, his trunk, like his legs, to me, definitely look bigger for sure. To be able to withstand, pressure and things like that around him. But yeah, man, that guy, he just, and I can't keep saying it about Jaden. All of these guys looked in shape. Andre Jones Jr., I didn't even recognize him. I was like, who is number 50? And I'm like, wait a minute, that's Dre. He looked like he was about 15, 20 pounds heavier, like rocked up and was still moving around out there. That's a guy that nobody talks about to remember, because he was kind of in the Ron regime, and last year, practice squad coming up to the roster, just trying to figure it out. John Baptiste.
Yeah, so him.
Bigger, stronger. So it's real, man. The weight training, the nutrition with this team, it's at an all-time high. And I think the competition is real, as far as each room has their own competition to get balls, get reps. So guys know that they have to be in shape, not come July. They needed to be in shape come May to make an impression, because if you fall behind in this group, you're never going to recover, because that's how deep the competition is. So, Brad, my good guy, what you got, man?
What was your question again?
It's just like anybody, any player you want to know about, how you thought they did, or
I think it was asked about Merritt. Don't they call him Bill? Don't they call him Bill? Yeah. I was because I think him with that him and Jaden with that read option would be nasty. So I'm looking forward to that. And I haven't really heard too many people say anything about how did Kinlaw look. Did you see him?
Yeah,
large. That's how he looked. He looked large. He's so nimble of foot, man.
They showed him.
He looked like he probably played soccer at some point when he was younger, man. Like, that's the thing. Like, everyone that they went out and brought in, draft wise and free agent wise, Dedrick Wise, like, that's a mountain of a dude, man. He establishes edges. That's what he's known for, coming from New England. And I saw with my own eyes why. He's humongous. Like, Dedrick Wise and Javon made seriously made Jerzon look like a little baby. Like, Jerzon looked tiny compared to those guys. And I'm like, even Deron lost some weight, and I'm like, when he was standing next to Dedrick, I'm like, bro, these some big dudes. So you know what Adam has done. Y'all remember them 49ers teams that he was with out there with John Lynch? They were big, physical guys, and he's brought that to the East Coast. Like, Washington now is not going to be a slow, small team. They're going to be uber athletic, fast, but at the same time large. So yeah, it's just,
man. That doesn't it pay to have a competent GM? My gosh,
it's amazing, man. It's amazing, and y'all never ever will hear me say a bad word about that, man. Like, people keep saying to me all the time, Lake, man, you getting me hyped, man. You don't want to let me down, and I'm like, I'm hyped. I'm ready to see how this thing going to turn out, because I just, like I said, man, I've been around long enough to know when I see a good football team. And this isn't the only team I covered, you know, so I know what good football teams look like. And this team has the makings of a great football team. Like it's all there. But more importantly, y'all already know when you look like a good football team and you have one of those at quarterback,
I'll tell you.
you're there. And this franchise is set up to be a major player every year as long as number 5 stands upright.
You had asked the question maybe about a month ago. You asked us who was the face of the league or the team. And mine, I said Adam Peters. And I think Adam is the reason we're winning. I mean, of course, Jaden, but Adam had to go get Quinn. Adam had to draft Jaden. You know what I'm saying? I think Adam is the reason. He is the reason why we are where we are. I really think so.
Man, I gotta tell you, it's another way you know a team's good because you got to think about who's the face. It's not a clear cut, you know, like, oh, it's this person. It could be your head coach. If you say Dan Quinn, I'm not going to refute that.
True.
If you say it's Jaden, I'm not going to refute that. If you say, it's Bobby Wagner because of the culture, professionalism as a player, I'm not going to refute that. If you say it's Adam Peters, if you say it's Josh Harris as the owner, I'm not going to refute that. If you say it's the fan base, I'm going to be like, you know what? They're back. And I'm not going to refute that either. So now we just got to make sure with this fan base, though, before we move on to Kel, we got to make sure this fan base is here to stay because I know you guys are. And if you remember the days when they were winning, you knew you had to be on board. You knew it hurt when they lost. Like it literally hurt to the core when they got beat in the Super Bowl by the Raiders. They didn't get beat. They got mugged.
They sure did.
It hurt to the core when they lost to the Bears in the divisional playoff game at RFK. That's what this fan base is going to have to start understanding. You're not going to win them all, but you're going to be in the game to find out, what the hurt is like too. Last year didn't hurt to me. I was in that stadium for the NFC Championship game, and I had a sense of accomplishment. Even as a journalist, for me to be in the NFC Championship game covering my team, I'm like, man, these guys accomplished something nobody thought they were capable of. This year, there's expectations, and those expectations are you're good enough to get back to that game and win it and get on to the next one. So we're going to see how that plays out. But Kel, anybody in particular you were thinking about?
Oh, for sure. Several people. I mainly focus on the defense. I feel super confident the offense is going to, exceed what last year presented. At first, the Northeast Soldier 52, Ken Law is certainly a person that, interests me. However, Jerzon Newton, so many storylines about him last year. That's someone I am super interested to hear update. But I would be remiss if I didn't put my 2 cents on about I think it's not a hot take that this team is still in the retooling phase. As Coach said last year, it's not a rebuild, it's a retooling. I think we're still retooling. He made that culture where even these new faces, new personalities and talents could just mesh in. And the people who was already here last year is sharpening what they already know. And anytime you sharpen something, you get more of an output. It's like, so they're going to be more what you get what I'm saying, exponentially better than what they did last year. So this year, second year, man, it's going to be, I believe that is the foundation of what you describe as a Super Bowl culture or Super Bowl, what Coach Quinn is doing this year. But yeah, man, tell me more about Jerzon Newton, man. I think he's going to be Paul's big inside. I think it's going to be something to look forward to.
So what they did for Jerzon was the best thing as far as the talent that they brought in around him. First of all, they brought in guys that are vets that can help him as well from the mental aspect. But when you go back to Illinois, I'm a Big Ten guy being Penn State. So I saw Jerzon a lot, Johnny. I saw him a lot at Illinois because people don't understand Illinois been putting out top flight defensive talent for the last 5-6 years. But Johnny was playing next to a space eater, and it allowed you to see how quick he is and burst off the ball. He didn't really have that in his rookie campaign. He didn't have that guy, a monster next to him, because even for as good as Duran is, and John Allen was, I never thought that they were like outside of the 1 year for Duran, that contract year. Y'all remember?
Yep.
I never really looked at those two guys as just top 5 defensive tackles. I never had.
National media did.
Yeah, so it was like, the thing around town in this town was some players would get pumped up too much and they were only set up for a letdown because around the league, they weren't looked at that way. Duran's looked at as a really good football player, make no mistake about it. But Duran's not looked at as an elite defensive tackle.
Right.
I can tell you that from talking to colleagues. And I don't look at him that way. And that's not disrespecting him at all.
Right.
When you look at Jerzon has all the tools to be an elite defensive tackle because he's quick off the ball, great footwork, great handwork, a little undersized. Yes, he is. So what do you do with a guy like that? There was a guy named Aaron Donald that people said was undersized, but he always had somebody next to him. And he also had some edge rushers too. And it allowed for him to just do what he did. And then, of course, later in his career, he was getting double and triple team because he was just that good. But I think for Jerzon, going out and getting a Kinlaw, going out and getting a Dedrick Wise, going out and getting an Eddie Goldman, these are big boys, man. Like big boys that can take on 2 blockers and let Jerzon one-on-one against somebody. That's going to be hard to stop. Y'all saw his motor last year, even in plays where he wasn't making the tackle. You saw him running down the field. He was at the football. That's the kind of stuff that he was doing at Illinois when he had other talent around him. So I'm excited for him this year. I think his second year is going to be a big step forward for him.
Cool.
Right on.
So it's that time. We need to get your hypothetical quarterback in here. So and listen, if you say you're going to take your chances and ride with Jaden, I'm not accepting that on this one just because the hypothetical is Jaden won't play in that game. God forbid we never have to experience that, of course. But this is just for the fun of the show. So we're saying that the hypothetical is Washington's in the Super Bowl, but Jaden, the flu or something, and he's not playing, but you can pick any quarterback in burgundy and gold history for that one game, and you need him to be hot just for that one game to help you bring home that Lombardi trophy. So we're gonna start with Ellison first here. Who you grabbing out the pass?
Initially, I want to say Mr. Williams.
See, I knew you was gonna say.
But I'm going with Rippin. People, I think people forget nationally, not us, but people forget how good he was that season, man.
He was flawless.
Unbelievable. So you mean to tell me I need him for one game and you giving me that 91 Rippin? I'm going Rip. I'm going Rip.
Okay. Yeah. See, man, this is why I love doing this with y'all, man. Because if somebody come on here and say, I think I'm going to take Kirk Cousins, this going to be stopped immediately.
Get Kirk Cousins. They didn't even try to take him. Where they trying to send him now? They don't even want him.
Come on, man.
And he couldn't throw an out route to save his life.
No, and that's what I'm saying. For you, Mark Rippon throwing that deep ball and everything, hitting everybody. And if you're gonna get him, you're not gonna get sacked because he didn't get touched in 91.
Right.
He's still looking for defensive linemen. Exactly. Where are they? All right, so let's go with Brad next. You up?
I knew you was coming to me. Kirk Cousins. I'm not saying Kirk. That's a big game. You don't want Kirk Cousins in a big game. You don't want that. That's a tough one, but I think I'm gonna follow Ellison. I'm gonna go at 91 Rip. 91 Rip. I just watched they were showing the greatest teams on NFL Network.
Yep.
And that year, Rip was solid. He was
unbelievable,
solid.
man.
He was one of the best seasons ever, man.
Yep.
I mean, didn't turn the football over or anything.
And that D ball was pretty.
Oh man.
Oh, it was on the money every Sunday. It was.
Yep.
All right, so Sheila, you're up.
I'm gonna still go with Doug because that Super Bowl that he had. I mean, even though and Doug played good for Tampa Bay, he went to the playoffs for Tampa Bay, and when we got him, he had played for the other team, and then he came to us, and that one Super Bowl, he just, they gave him a hard time. Elway this, Elway that, Elway this, Elway that.
What was it, 35 in the second quarter alone?
Yep.
Come on, man. You
So
can't beat that.
I picked that.
You know what? That Sheila and Ellison and Brad, y'all just started something because I haven't even gotten to Kel and Rev yet, but y'all just started something like where I could ask the question out there: who had the better? Well, you can't say Super Bowl because Doug is going to get that.
Yeah.
You could say who had the better season, and yeah, Rip going to get that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
never mind. No, I was just trying to come up with
See,
something
you
else.
cooking already. You cooking.
No, right. The wheels were turning. Right. Exactly. All right. So Rev, you're up. What you think?
You know, and honestly, I wrote on my little paper here, Doug. However, I'm
Sonny,
gonna
aren't
add
you?
it, and I heard Ripken, but I'm gonna go with Theismann. I'm gonna take Joe. Joe got one under his belt until a cyborg by the name of Lawrence Taylor
Right.
showed up. You know,
Long,
Joe
always there.
Joe was our guy. You know, and just real quick, I'm gonna stick with. You know, I think it's unfortunate. I really like Sam Howell. I believe the management. I believe if Quinn or Kingsbury had Sam Howell, we'd see a different quarterback. I think the management system of
Oh
him
no,
that would
I agree. I agree 100%.
he was so
Just wasn't
mismanaged.
in a good situation when he was here at
No.
all. Not at all. They didn't even his coordinator. You could tell the coach didn't really want that coordinator here. Let me keep all that quiet. So yeah, I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
All right,
So
so
for the
Kev.
sake of the question, I'm going with Theismann.
Okay. So I'll say this. All love, because I think all these answers are great, and we still got to get Kel's. But I saw Theismann have a bad Super Bowl as well. So that's my only thing.
Right.
The next year against the Raiders, he
Uh-huh.
did not look. But in fairness to him, no one looked good in that game. I mean, it was bad, man.
Yep.
They even missed. I think Mosley even missed the extra point.
Field goal. Yep.
It was all bad that game. Joe Gaz, it was one of his worst games coached. It was just
Who was
a
our quarterback
miserable day in Tampa that day
when
against
we
the Raiders.
played Miami? Who was our quarterback
Say that again.
when we played Miami in the Super Bowl?
Wasn't it?
Who was the
I
quarterback?
mean, it was John
Was
Reagan's
it
show.
Kilmer?
It was the John Reagan show that game.
I know,
So
but I'm just saying, who was the quarterback? I
Was
can't
that
even
Billy
remember.
Kilmer?
Was it Billy Kilmer?
oh, you talking about the first Miami game?
Yeah.
Oh no, that was Billy Kilmer because Sonny was hurt. Yep.
I
Sonny
thought
broke
about
his
Billy
leg.
too.
That's why we lost
Yeah.
that one.
I mean, obviously that was before, a little ahead of me, but historian wise, I know all that stuff.
Right,
I've
right,
seen
right.
the game live, watched it on tape, all that. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I've watched that game in person. I just couldn't remember. I said, I thought that wasn't Billy Kilmer, was it? I'm trying to sit here saying that to myself.
Hey,
Yeah.
funny thing about that game, before we get to Kel, funny thing about that game, and I do know this too. The Dolphins were undefeated, obviously, and they won the game and stayed undefeated, but they weren't even favored to win that football game.
No, they weren't.
They were underdogs in that game against Washington as an undefeated team, which goes to show you how good Washington was. And if Sonny Jurgensen did not get hurt, clearly they're winning that football game. So, whole nother story. All right, so Kel, you're up. What you got, my friend?
Hey man, I think you started something bringing back that particular squad. I think with the schedule coming out, we're going to a lot of teams that has a historically better outlook of record. They're going to look to us and be an underdog. Man, it's a good hypothetical. I don't know.
See, this is what I want right here. That's why they call brain busters. I want it. It shouldn't be easy. It should be like, man, Lake got me. I don't even know what to say on air.
I would say much respect to all the Washington quarterback greats, Theismann, Rich, Doug. Honorable shout out to I'll give it to Jason Campbell, some quarterbacks that gave us excitement. I throw in Donovan McNabb with the excitement, even of course RG3. Big again, Kirk Cousins, respectful shout out to him. But honestly, far as fit, and we just need one game. Like I want to stick with QB2 right now. Like he's just like Jaden Daniels for one game.
That's
you know
true.
what I'm saying, Marcus
Yeah.
Mariota.
See,
Good point.
Kel over here putting together science projects now, man. That's a good one. So you would say Mariota.
Yeah.
second pick in the first
That's
round,
not a
Heisman
bad
Trophy
look.
winner. You know what I'm
That's not
saying?
a bad look.
Played the Cowboys and it looked like
He
Jaden. I had to
actually
squint. Is that Jaden?
exactly. He did it
Even the
last year
the
for us.
Panthers,
We
the
needed one
Panthers, he
game,
did something.
whatever.
He did
Twice.
2 games.
Yeah,
He did
Hey
2 games.
man, that's this
he came in and he
this is
did
why I
that.
have y'all on here, because people. I'm gonna be honest with you. Somebody told me, man, they on there trying to be Stephen A. Man, and I said, what y'all talking about, man? They said they on there trying to be analysts, and I said, nah, they just know their stuff. You know, they know their stuff. They're themselves. And now that same person was like, can I come on that show too? Yeah,
No.
yeah,
All
you know
us
what I'm
Stephen
saying?
A.
So,
Come on, man.
nah, this not no fluff here, man. When you come on here, you gotta bring your A game. This Hollywood Squares right now, man. That's what this is.
Okay.
So
I have to say this because I said my friends say, "How you on there with all those men?" I said, "Because I know what I'm talking about."
yeah, you do.
I'm not.
They be
I'm not
shouting you out
bragging.
all the time. She be like,
I'm not
Sheila
bragging,
be
but I know what I'm talking about. And then when they ask me questions, I can answer them. I mean, I can tell my children things. You know.
Tell them, first of all, we're not Neanderthals and we embrace our sister and our queens
Sure.
to equals.
You know
So,
what I'm saying? Y'all saw what I did before I even came on. You know what I'm saying? Because she been at the pool now for 55 minutes by herself, and she encouraged me to do this.
there you
That's
go.
what I'm saying.
Well,
It's all about consistency.
You tell them
You
we
guys
said
know.
thank you
Yeah, it's all about
and
consistency.
happy birthday.
But y'all do know when I wrap this up and go back out there,
Hey,
out there all night.
hey,
You
And
have to make
I'm trying to tell y'all, when we walked out the airport, it was just the devils. They were just lined up, man. Just wait. You need a ride. You need they were waiting. It was that hot. But nah, man. Look, I greatly appreciate y'all coming in and without getting the email and all that good stuff. I knew y'all were going to show up. That's why I had to show up for you. And look, we had a good one. We had another fun one. You know, left no stone unturned. I won't be at OTAs on Wednesday because I'll be here for another week and a half actually. But as you know, when I come back, minicamp will be around and we'll be doing this, chopping it up. I talked to some of the fellas and they want to come on with us, some of the current guys. Okay. So we just got to get through training camp, because right now they're kind of off limits, as they should be. Their mind is prepping and getting ready to roll for the season. But once training camp breaks and the team is announced, that 53-man roster, guys can go out and do their own ventures. And yeah, we're going to have them in here with y'all, and y'all can just ask them directly and see what I'm saying is making sense. Because they even say to me, man, you making some sense here, Lake. One of the things that I noticed the other day, though, in some of the interviews was just how some of the guys hung around and waited for their teammates to finish their interviews. And then, would do drills with them afterwards, would show them some, some hand drills. I saw Dedrick Wise out there with Daryl Tapp, defensive line coach, late, just working on different things. So you can just see this important to these guys to get out the gate fast. They know they have that schedule. They know it's daunting. They know they could be embarrassed multiple times on national television, which used to be the norm, remember?
Yeah.
Now, they don't want that. And Cliff even said it himself. He's excited for the players for these type of games, because that's what they signed up to play this game for, to be in prime time, be under the lights. So it's going to be fun this year. I can't wait. And I'm going to give you guys a chance a little bit later on in the summer to recant your predictions, your records based off of what you see, because I still think there might be another move or two left in this football team. So I don't think it's Jalen. I don't. But there could be some other guys.
Cincinnati boy.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not going to cry if Jalen Ramsey was on Washington, but I just think from what I'm seeing with the young fella from Mississippi, I just don't think they need it with Amos right now. I think he and Mikey, put it like this: if they had to go into the season with him and not saying anything is happening with Marshawn, he'll be back perfectly fine. But if your two starters were Trey Amos and Mikey Sainristil, they'll be just fine. But now you got a Pro Bowler coming back too, so they're not going to be just fine. They're going to be just great. So everything should be great. So listen, y'all. I appreciate y'all coming on. I'm about to wrap this thing up, and we'll get you back on next week, same time, same place. Appreciate all the fans who came on today, and joined in on our Friday fan day. And it's real simple if you'd like to join us. It's easy. All you have to do is email me at thelakeLewisJr.show@gmail.com, and someone will get back to you and get you on our distribution list. I do apologize if you're watching this and you are one of the many people that have joined us on this show and you didn't get an email from me. And that's because I was traveling, obviously, like I said, for my better half's big birthday. So what we're doing is, once you get an email from us for this show, you are forever able to log in on Fridays at 5 p.m. East Coast time to come on. So again, if you missed out this week, it's okay. We'll be back next Friday talking about the burgundy and gold and other topic matter from around the NFL. And of course, my brain buster, that big hypothetical. We had a good one today with the folks who did come on, and I appreciate them. So as always, thank you for joining us. Have a great, blessed, and safe weekend, and we'll see you next week. Take care.